So if you tickle the algorithm, it gets excited. And then it starts sending your video out to all kinds of fun places. And then you get more clicks and you get more likes and you get all this crazy stuff. So if you're watching YouTube right now, it's the algorithm is being pushed out, and what's exciting it is the word tariff. Another word that's exciting it is the word layoff. And you can see where I'm going with this. And all of a sudden, every YouTuber out there is talking about how the world is about to end. In fact, some of them are saying the world already has ended. One guy this morning was talking about, you better go out to the stores and get beans and rice, because rice lasts you a very long time. And by the way he was talking, all of the rice on planet Earth is made in China. And if we don't have a good trade deal with China, we're going to run out of rice, and we're going to run out of beans, and we're going to run out of water, and we're all going to starve to death. Now, nobody knows what's going to happen with the tariffs. Nobody knows what's going to happen with China. I'm not worried about running out of rice, and I'm not worried about running out of beans. In fact, I could probably use skipping a few meals. But that's another story for another video. But be very careful with all this crap. Now, I am not a fan of any political party or any politician, including the current one. So, no matter what you say now, you either sound like you're defending the new guy, or you're whatever. We have all these labels, and I don't want to get into the labels because some of them are really nasty. But they're talking about layoffs now, these mass layoffs, and they're relating it all to tariffs. And especially when they start talking about retail layoffs. Oh, people are losing retail jobs because there's nothing coming from China anymore. The shelves are empty and nobody is buying anything. Well, if you think that happened during this election cycle or during this administration, you're out of your freaking mind. And I'll tell you why, because retail has been under attack for the last few years. That attack is coming from Amazon and others. It's certainly not coming from China, and it's not coming from this current administration. Retail stores are closing. Rite Aid just shut down. All of this has been happening long before this whole tariff thing or any of that crap. Now, are the tariffs going to help? Absolutely not. But for these YouTubers out there to purposely scare the hell out of people and make it sound like the world is going to end, that's not right, man. I don't give a shit what you say. My channel doesn't get any views anyway, so I really don't care. But these guys are operating businesses. You need to understand this. They're running businesses. The YouTube to these guys are businesses. And you can go on YouTube right now. I can go into this thing called YouTube Studio, and I can search all this information. And there's keywords, what they call keywords. So if you use these keywords in the title of your video or in the story of your video or whatever, and then if you put a face on your thumbnail that's a scary look like this, that's the stuff that gets pushed out. And of course, it's great for YouTube because more eyes on a video gets more advertisers, people sell more stuff, everybody makes more money. But it's just very important that you understand that that's actually happening. Nobody knows what's going to go on with the economy. Nobody knows what's going to go on with China. You can speculate all you want. You can be scared all you want. You can be positive all you want. Somebody will be right, somebody will be wrong. But just like every other time in history, typically these things tend to eventually work out. Now, I'm not saying people are going to get laid off. People are not going to lose jobs. There's definitely a trade war. There's a lot of crap we buy from China that we don't need. There's a lot of important stuff that we get from China that we definitely need. But anybody who disagrees with the fact that we don't need to change our relationship with our dependence on China is out of their mind. And again, I'm not endorsing this current administration. This is something that should have been done years ago. And if you think I'm wrong, this is the other thing. People have such short memories. If you think I'm wrong, all you have to do is go back to 2020. We couldn't get medical supplies. We couldn't get masks, a simple, stupid paper mask. We didn't have them. We couldn't get toilet paper. So the bottom line is, because of China, we can't even wipe our ass in this country. And you're worried that we're going to run out of beans and rice? Yeah, maybe you're right. But listen, there are people much smarter than me and much smarter than you and much smarter than all these guys on YouTube and girls who tell you that they know everything. They don't. They don't. When you're listening to these people and you're believing what they say, don't do that to yourself. Don't put yourself under all that stress. Whatever is going on is going to work out one way or the other. But nobody can deny that there are things that need to happen worldwide so that it's a much more level playing field. That has to happen. And if you think America is the big bad bully, that's fine. You go ahead and dream on. I don't believe that that's true. People are, I make a lot of videos about Tesla. People are talking about Tesla. Oh, Tesla's laying off more people than anybody else. No, they're not. They're actually hiring right now. And are Teslas not selling? Of course they're not. And there's two reasons they're not selling. The number one reason, of course, is not what you think, is it? No, it's not. The number one reason Teslas are not selling is because we are in an economic downturn. That downturn started long before this current dude jumped into the Oval Office. Long before that. If you thought our economy wasn't going to suffer, you're nuts. There was enormous amounts of money injected into our system because of 2020, during and after. And if you didn't think that gravy train was going to end, and if you didn't think that we were going to hit a roadblock at some point and things were going to switch, you're out of your mind. You can't have full unemployment forever. You can't have 0% interest rates forever. You can't have real estate prices go up forever, and car prices go up forever, and the price of eggs go up forever, or anything else you want to talk about. The economy is supposed to have cycles. There's supposed to be ups. There's supposed to be downs. We haven't had a down for a long time. In fact, we haven't had a down for way too long. And we're way overdue for a down. Are we going to starve to death? I don't think so. So stop listening to this nonsense and understand that there are people who are smarter than us, and certainly smarter than the guy that's sitting in the Oval Office, that are working on these things. And they all know it needs to happen. They all know that there needs to be a better system of trade. And the other thing that people don't realize is they think that the big man in the White House is going to bring back all these jobs, and nobody wants these jobs anyway. Nobody wants to work in a factory. Nobody wants to do that. If you're talking like that, you know nothing about manufacturing. Manufacturing is not what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Factories don't operate the way they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. These new factories that are coming back here, they're not dependent on cheap labor. It's mostly about technology now. So this notion that people think that we can't make iPhones here, or we can't make toilet paper here, or if we make toilet paper here, it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Will it cost more? Of course it will. But it's not totally dependent on cheap labor. And anyway, at the end of the day, if you talk about equality and you talk about treating people fairly, and then in the same breath, you're angry that your cheap crap is not coming from China anymore, and then you talk about human rights, what the hell are you talking about? People in China have been abused for years because you're addicted to cheap crap. And now all of a sudden you're some kind of a humanitarian? Wake up, sheep. Wake up.